Hey guys, this is the Shinryu stage on Cor's Lost Chapter, the man known as the Immortal, and I'm very hyped for this stage because it features two of the characters that I really like, which is Cor and Noctis. And really I haven't used Noctis for the longest of time. And hey, if you're gonna use Noctis, then why not start off with a 0 turn run? So this is going to be a 0 turn run featuring Noctis's FRBT, and Aerith makes a return here because she combos very well with Noctis's force time. Aerith's echoes normally will give you plus 80% plus whatever conditional that her echoes can fulfill, and she actually can fulfill both of Noctis's force conditionals, which actually means that when Aerith uses her echoes later, it'll be a whopping plus 163% per echo use. Now, to get this into a 0 turn run, you do need to abuse the party self-delay aura that the bosses get when he reaches 30% force gauge, mainly because Cor normally is not able to pass his turn without increasing the turn count. However, since he can self-delay himself now with the aura, essentially at the start I'm sort of timing it so that Cor will be able to sort of pass his turn to Noctis at the end of his rotation by hitting the 30% force gauge. Sounds very complicated, but it's really not. So the only RNG here is that you need to reset until you get the right starting turn order, which is Aerith, Cor and Noctis. And to help you get this starting turn order, you can remove speed passives on Noctis. As always, I will include in the video description the passives that I remove as well as the full setup for the party, so do check it out. Essentially, if you use enough instant turn skills with Aerith, when Cor starts his turn, the boss is very close to the 30% threshold, so just by taking a few actions, you hit it, and then Cor can, as you can see here, pass his turn to Noctis. Noctis has one turn quick prayer from the Lunafreya call that Cor has used, so you can just use one LD with Noctis here to give everyone warp step, and this will then keep the turn count at 0. Of course, you could enter into force time, but I did some testing and it's actually better to go one round of warp step first before entering force time. This round of warp step is to complete setup with everyone because both Aerith and Noctis do need to use their BT plus as well. And then there's also call abilities that needs to be used, chief of which is the Rain's Call of Noctis. Because this part of the fight you have the self-delay aura, so it's going to be very tricky if you enter force time here. Better to go into one round LD first with Noctis. Using that LD with Noctis also buffs him with his Army Girl buff, which is very important because his Army Girl buff gives him Brave Refund after every HP dump, which significantly increases his damage output. Now, not gonna lie, if you are not familiar with warp step and how it works, doing a 0 turn run is extremely tricky. You do need to pay very close attention to the turn order bar as well as the enemy turns. So even if you follow this step by step, you may end up with a different result because the enemy's turns may not be in the same order in your run. You do need to have quite a bit of practice in order to master the warp step mechanics. Essentially, with warp step, your character will warp their turn before the enemy that they are targeting after their attack. So which enemy you target is also extremely important when you are buffed with warp step. However, this fight makes it much more complicated because of the self-delay aura. So the way it works in this particular fight is that after you've warped your turn with warp step, then the self-delay aura will kick in and you will delay by one turn. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, this will usually result with your character's turn after the boss because of the delay. This can potentially be a good thing because by allowing the boss 1 or 2 actions in, you get to get a few rounds of Cor's preemptive strikes for free, and that adds quite a bit of damage as well. And anyway, once the minion is dead, the boss is pretty harmless. Even the boss's recast attack doesn't actually do any HP damage if it's alone. And while the boss will resummon a minion, the new minion will die in one hit once you reach high force bonus percentages anyway. So don't worry if you see the boss getting turns. you do need to make sure that you kill off the first minion before the boss uses recast. That's the only thing to keep in mind, because if the boss uses recast while the minion is up, it will wipe all your buffs, every single buff, which is essentially a run ender. Now it might seem a bit of a waste here because I used Noctis BT plus a bit early, which actually means that he enters into his BT mode with only 4 turns of BT aura remaining, which is a slight DPS loss overall in his BT mode. But the trade-off of using his BT plus early is that you don't have to use it in his force time, so you get to preserve 1 turn of his force time instead. And personally, I think this is a better trade-off in a 0 turn run. Now look at Aerith's echoes right here. I'm at 190%. Boom, plus 163% in 1 echoes, and she still has 1 more echoes left. The combo of Noctis and Aerith allows Noctis to start his PT mode at a very high force bonus percentage, while still having the full 7 turns of force time for his PT mode. And this translates to a humongous single target damage overall, which is really perfect for this fight. So I'm at 621% force bonus and I'm still at 10 turns of force. Boss uses recast attack here, but it does only brave damage. Minion will be revived here, but really it dies in 1 hit and you'll soon see. Now unfortunately here I had to use Satrapaya with Aerith because she's out of warp step. If you're not worried about the turn count, you can just use something like LD or EX with Aerith and pass a turn that way, but your turn count will no longer be 0. So you have to use Prayer of Cetra here for a 0 turn run. So setup is almost complete. I just have to use the Rain's Call now, which unfortunately not only will it eat a turn, it will also delay Noctis by 1 turn due to the delay aura. So this means that Aerith is then forced to take another turn, which means that I would have liked to start his PT mode at 8 turns, but it will have to be 7 turns here. And nice, I'm starting PT mode at 995% force bonus. If you don't have Rain's Call, then his S1 Shooting Star is a better attack than his Warp Strike, his S2. But I think if you do have Rain's Call aura up, every attack will launch anyway, in which case I think Warp Strike will out damage Shooting Star. So because of that, what I did here is I used one S1 Shooting Star, then I used EX here. EX gives you a free skill use, which means that Noctis can then use 2 Warp Strikes back to back, and the second will be Warp Strike Plus for additional damage.
想定済みだ。全部出し切る。勝とうぜ。止めらんねえぞ。ビックスてやーしゃー勝ちてんだよ。
私の番。
So boss is essentially dead here, and even if it's not, don't worry about it because you exit BT mode with your summon intact, and everyone is also buffed with warp step to boot, so you can actually still continue the 0 turn run even if this BT mode doesn't kill. Of course I would recommend to pop summon just mainly to freeze the boss's force gauge, but you should have a little bit of leeway to finish off the boss. Anyway, that's it for this run. As always, I hope the video has been helpful, and if you enjoyed the content, do leave a like, comment or subscribe. It really helps a lot. Till then, I'll see you guys in the next Shinryu fight. Bye!